If you have not followed his Triple H horse racing podcast, you're missing out. It's one of the best podcasts in the country.
Good evening and welcome to episode 26 of Horsin Around right here on the HHH Racing Podcast. I'm your proud host, Howard Kravitz, and on Mondays on Horsin Around, usually I bring in my co-host right away on screen, and why stop? I should just do it right now. So let's bring on my co-host for tonight, the host of Bet and Boozin', Kyle Roscoe. Kyle, how you doing tonight?
I was going to say, usually we're messing up the mojo, man. You got too much stuff going on.
I know. I forgot. I usually bring us on together, but it's all good. We got a lot to talk about tonight, Kyle. We want to thank everyone for watching. We greatly appreciate here on the HHH Racing Podcast. Please make sure you hit that subscribe button on the bottom right-hand side of the screen. Hit the notification bell so that you know when new content will arise in the top right-hand corner, and smash, bing, bing, smash that like button below the video player. What does that do, Kyle? It sends
this video and all the videos in from the HHH Racing Podcast out into the YouTube algorithm to hopefully bring like-minded horse players like yourself to the HHH Racing Podcast.
You just say it better than I. We just love saying the word algorithm. It reminds me of my math teaching, time. So anyway, make sure you do all that. We have a lot to talk about tonight, ladies and gentlemen. I'm really excited for an action-packed Horsin' Around show. The main two topics are going through the Stephen Foster Day card at Churchill this past Saturday and recap that, more specific to the Stephen Foster race itself. And then also talk about the very exciting Hawthorne contest that happened this weekend that Kyle and I participated. We participated in some of the same ones. We are competitors. The one on Sunday was just myself and Brad Anderson, Matt Miller in the specialty Hawthorne Invite. But Kyle, we've got some really exciting news for the podcast. Let's just get to that right now. First of all, make sure you listen to the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Anchor. If you're not, of course, watching live or you rather listen to the audio version. Power Pick tip sheets continue to do well. Look below the video player for information on the Power Pick tip sheet. There's a lot of reasons, Kyle, why people are going to want to go to our website, even more so, which we'll get to in just a second. A Better Way of Thinking, fantastic book. Look into that by going to abetterwayofthinking.com. He's got like e-version, like audio versions, right, Kyle? He's got every version you could. Braille? Is there a Braille edition? I don't know.
Coming soon. Bring that up, though.
All right. So anyway, actually, I don't think there is. We don't want to lie to people about that.
No, of course not.
Right. Now, here's the big news, Kyle. Well, there's a lot of big news on this channel. First of all, the most important, biggest news in terms of recency is right now, ladies and gentlemen, and I mean right now, Saratoga and Del Mar Power Pick specific tip sheets are now available. The two biggest meets of the year, other than the Keeneland specialty meets, of course, Kyle. Saratoga starts a week from Thursday, July 11th. Del Mar starts a little bit later this year. They start 9 days after Saratoga on Saturday, July 20th. They're actually starting on a Saturday this year. And all people need to do is to sign up for either one. And I'm going to go to that right now here as I present it on our page here. All you need to do, ladies and gentlemen, is you go to our website, hhhracingpodcast.com, and you click on the Power Pick tip sheet tab. And as you can see there's now a drop-down menu, Kyle, where if people are interested in our standard Power Picks, which of course come out only on Saturday mornings with two great cards, etc., you can find out. And there's actually new information. You can see, Kyle, it looks different. We put some FAQ stuff on there. Pete Visco does a great job. But also now we have Saratoga-only Power Picks where you can click on that and you can look into our Saratoga. There we go. It should have worked there.
It's the scroll down, man. That's why.
Oh, we got an issue with it. Okay, well, anyway, you go to our Saratoga only Power Pick. I'll go ahead and take that off the screen right now. Okay, there we go. I got it back. You go to our Saratoga only Power Pick tip sheet, and you can find out how to sign up for the Saratoga Power Pick tip sheet. You can do it through PayPal or Venmo. You can either sign up for our full meet, which is Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So don't be misled when it says full meet. That actually is Friday, Saturday, or Sundays. And then, or you can sign up for an individual weekend. So if there's a particular weekend, like Travers weekend or whatever, you can do that. You just have to sign up before Thursday night, midnight. There are different prices, everyone. We did this last year. This is nothing new, Kyle. We did this last year. It is less expensive if you are a current Power Picks tip subscriber. If you are not, and it says right there, non-Power Pick subscribers, you need to scroll down and your cost is a little more. But still, Kyle, as I bring you on screen, it's very reasonable. And then, of course, we also have Del Mar. Let's see if this works. If it doesn't, well, I'll have to talk to Pete. Pete's not sure
why. I think it's just loading. There you go.
Oh,
now you clicked away from it, but it was just loading up.
There we go. There's our Del Mar only Power Picks tip sheet. Very excited to say, as you mentioned, Noah Maher will be doing our Power Picks tip sheet as he grew up on the West Coast and knows the track very well. And it's very similar. So people can read about it. You can sign up now. You can do it through PayPal or Venmo. We didn't have Venmo option last year, Kyle. So we really hope people will get interested. And like I'm going to email something to everyone who's on the email list. But Kyle, there's a lot of reasons why people would want to subscribe for both. Yep. The main reason, of course, is the specific Del Mar and Saratoga ones gives more information on those particular days, full card ABC. Also, you get those Fridays and Sundays. Plus, our regular standard tip sheet on Saturdays may not cover Del Mar and or Saratoga. So anyway, a lot of reasons to get involved now.
I mean, the biggest example I can think of coming up is like Haskell weekend, right? And you want to be betting, and I believe is it either Del Mar's opening weekend or the weekend after that for Haskell. Either way, that's 3 tracks that are going to be running, right? So you're going to have Monmouth, Saratoga, and Del Mar. And, if one of those tracks is not going to be included on there, plus the Power Picks tip sheet also only includes late pick 5, correct? The pick 5 grids. Yep. So then if you subscribe to the Saratoga only Power Picks, you'll get full card and Del Mar for that matter. You get full card Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, or Friday, Saturday, and Sunday for each of those tracks. And so, and if you subscribe to the normal Power Picks, you also get that discount that Howard was talking about. So, it works in many ways to be able to subscribe to both of them.
Well, there's 2 ways you can get discounts. You can either get for the Del Mar and Saratoga Power Picks, there's 2 ways to get discounts. Either subscribe to our standard Power Picks, that's the easiest way. But also if you sign up for the full meet as opposed to the individual weekend. And again, when we say full meet, we're talking about Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays, not actually every card. Again, that's in the description. But if you do sign up for the Saratoga or Del Mar Power Picks and you do full meet, you actually are paying a decent amount less. We've given you that opportunity to sign up for less money per card because we're giving you more cards and etc. So the best thing to do is to sign up for the Saratoga and Del Mar full meet Power Picks along with the standard ones, and you're gonna crush your bets all summer, Kyle, if you do that, right?
That's right. Absolutely. I mean, look, dude, if the normal Power Picks are any indication, over 3.5 years well in the positive ROI. So I don't know what people are waiting for.
There you go. Nathan Kaczynski on the bottom. Kyle, good evening. Howard's great. Meeting Kyle and you yesterday, the Hawthorne contest. Kyle, we'll talk about that a little later in the show, but we met a lot of people like Mike Saletta. What's up, everyone? Howard, Kyle. Yeah, not too long that we saw you, Mike. 24 hours? But yes, Mike, thanks for joining the chat. Really appreciate it. We got Marco Perez. I'm not sure I've seen that name from LA. What's up, Marco? Marco, Del Mar Power Picks tip sheet, man. Go to our website. Sign up for them. I know you're a California guy, so what are you waiting for? Go ahead and check those out. And we got Jim Pilars in the chat. Oh, look who's here. We haven't seen him in the chat for a while.
Yeah,
Siggy. What's up, Siggy? How you doing, man? Appreciate it. We got Derek Poyes here. Maybe Derek will see him at Saratoga. I don't know. Or I'll see him there. I know you're not going to be there this year, but that we know why. It's good reason. Jeff Amster talked about Naira. We'll talk about that. They actually are going to use their synthetic all the time during their winter meets now. That was actually put out by Naira. Here's a little news that I didn't know about from Raymond Cromley. I didn't know this. Disarm's got a quarter crack. Oof. And resorting back to three-year-old issues was a scratch. That's a shame. Yeah. He did stumble about the gate. I wonder if that was part of it. But anyway, so yeah. Okay, just looking at the other comments. We appreciate that. So anyway, Del Mar Power Picks, Saratoga Power Picks. Go to our website, sign up for them. If you're on our email list, you're also going to get information. Now, the other thing we got to do is this, Kyle, and everyone who is eligible for this already knows this. I apologize for the ad. What is this? Anyone that put their name and their email in the survey that was sent out, you do have to be on our email list, is eligible, Kyle, to get a free book. That's a $50 value. You got it right there, Kyle. There it is. A Better Way of Thinking. We're going to find out right now. And I emailed everyone, Kyle, to join the show. So hopefully a lot of you listening and watching right now are on this email list. We're going to spin the spinner. And I got a little surprise. Let's see who wins the Matt Miller free book, A Better Way of Thinking. Here we go. The first person. You got a drum roll, Kyle?
Yeah, I know. Hold on. Does that work? Did I hear that?
So here we go. And the winner is...
You got a lot of names on there.
A lot. Dan Salkup. Dan, congratulations. Now, if you're listening, do not go anywhere, people, because I got a surprise. Do not go anywhere. If you are watching right now and you're like, oh, dang, I'm not Dan, I just lost, I got a surprise. Don't go anywhere. But congratulations, Dan. Dan, I will email you and you will get a free book. But you know what, Kyle? The tournaments didn't go as well as I wondered. But you know what? I'm in a good mood. So what we're going to do, we're going to give away a second book. How's that sound, Kyle?
Give him another one.
We're going to give a second book. Here we go. This is the only one we're giving away for free tonight. Again, all these people signed up for the survey. So here we go. One more spin. Who else is going to get Matt Miller's free book? We're going to find out right now. Good luck to everyone.
Yeah,
it is. See the names. Is it David? Is it Ed Morales? Congratulations, Ed. Ed, I will be contacting you as well. Congratulations to Dan Salkup. I hope I pronounced your name correctly, Dan. And Ed Morales. They get free book seats. All you got to do is fill out a 2-minute survey, Kyle, and put your name and email down, and you're famous.
Yeah, you're famous. Yeah,
that's all you got to do.
Exactly. So everyone on the HHH Racing podcast. But again, there will be more giveaways coming, of course. So we love to give away back to the viewers on this channel. So there'll all be more coming, people. Don't you worry.
Absolutely. All right, let's get into our recap of the Stephen Foster, Kyle, because it was a very important race for a lot of reasons. It was the main race of the weekend. The Stephen Foster, of course, grade 1. It was on Saturday at Churchill, and there was a bit of a surprise, and was not good for me, was not good for you. Frankly, it was not good for a lot of people in the Hawthorne $500 contest. You know what it was good for? It was good for Todd Pletcher. That's for sure. Here are the results right here, Kyle. Before I show the replay and get into details, you see Kingsbarns wins almost 10-1 with Pyrenees, who continues to surprise people and run well at 10-1 second. And your top two choices, Skippy and First Mission, I think they sort of Skippy was actually the third choice now that I look at it carefully. But First Mission and Skippy sort of battled themselves into submission, even though the fractions weren't lightning fast, which is an interesting thing that we need to discuss here, Kyle. But Kingsbarns gets the job done for Pletcher. Before we get into details, initial thoughts on the results of Stephen Foster.
Well, I'll tell people first, because people that have been following Betting and Boozing, they know the two fan clubs that I've basically named myself self-named president of. At the beginning, when Kingsbarns was running in the Ben Ali, I believe, at Keeneland, I loved that he was going long. That Mile and 3/16 thought fit him so well. Loved him there. Hammered him. Won by daylight. Comes back in the Pimlico Special. I thought, again, I was the same thing. Then Pyrenees upsets him, but he still runs well. And then comes back to this spot, and I loved him at 1.7-1. I loved him at 4-5, or 3-5 even, and I don't love him at 9, at almost 10-1. It's it hurts when, especially a horse that you said is going to have such a good 4-year-old year comes out and bites you in the ass. But I was with you, Howard. I thought First Mission hasn't gone that short in a long time. Stephen Foster, of course, being run at 7. Or not 7. What was it? It was at
A mile and eighth.
a mile and 8. Sorry, yeah.
Yeah.
But either way, I thought he was going to get a good trip. I was actually hoping that that Flo would kind of play the way of taking back, let Skippy go, and then try to go to the back, go to the outside. But once Skippy really didn't send immediately, I thought Flo just said, if no one's going to take it, I guess I'm going to go. And then Jose Ortiz just ended up flying, and obviously we'll show the replay here. They just battled themselves into submission, like you said.
Well, we talked, Skippy's the 9, First Mission's the 2. The first thing I want to mention as we show the break here is I personally was hoping First Mission was going to outbreak the inside horse here and get to the rail a lot easier than he did. I know the fractions weren't that fast, but I really thought that First Mission was a lot quicker than the rail horse, who, like I said, ran well again. And I think First Mission had to work a little more than I was comfortable with just to clear the rail horse. And you see Skippy didn't break great. I was sort of hoping Skippy would just send hard and clear. I think First Mission is better with a target, Kyle. At least it feels that way. Maybe this race is even more of an indication that's true, because as we let it run through, the fractions, like I said, Skippy didn't break great. And you see First Mission, he's not asking a lot, but he's also not getting to the rail, right away. And right here, a decision has to be made. And I don't blame Drew at all, by the way, Kyle, for sending through. In fact, I said Thursday, if Skippy doesn't break great or Skippy doesn't want it necessarily, just go on with it. So I got no problem with Drew for this ride. The horse just didn't run nearly as well. But I will say, and I think we were watching this pretty close to each other. I was watching, I think, most closely with, Brad. But when they were engaging each other, and this is an important point, like right here, when it looked like, Skippy wasn't going to go on and they were going to be 1-2 around, I'm sorry, that's just not a good scenario, because even though they went, 24 and then 48, which is not flying, in my opinion, Kyle, it's not really the time that you're going. It's the fact they're both sort of breathing on each other. I think the horses feel that, and I think makes the time a little bit deceiving. Do you feel that way, or do you feel like, these two horses were the best? They had no excuses at all in the race.
I'm honestly, you and I are both very visual handicappers, and when you see horses head to head basically the entire way around, Skippy backed off towards the backstretch here, and once
they're also asking, and look at their hands. It's not like they're sitting, right? They're both sort of asking a little bit. I think that mattered too. Sorry to interrupt you.
Yeah, no, you're good. Like I said, I think with the times per se, I wouldn't say there's as big of an excuse as I'd like there to be with loving First Mission in this race, but I knew right here, we were in big trouble.
Well, you see the first quarter is 24. The second quarter is basically 24. But look at the third quarter. If you do the math, what is that? 23 and 0.5, right? Yeah. So they went a faster third quarter, so they push it. And then right here, I still felt okay with First Mission. Obviously, Skippy's in a lot of trouble. Kingsbarns, I'll tell you what, Kyle, this is what drives me crazy about horse racing. Two back when he won the Ben Ali, I thought he was super impressive. And I thought he could not lose the Pimlico Special. He was a single on my pick 5, blah, blah, blah. And the rail horse, came over the top and beat him. It was a very slow pace. This is a buyer top. Kingsbarn is just one of those horses that's been very tough to figure. He had some really big races as a 3-year-old. He's sort of, yin-yang type. But I think he's better rating. And boy, this was his best race that he's ever run, and was, right here, I thought First Mission would fight him harder.
Yep.
He really didn't show as much fight as I would hope. And you see Pyrenees, comes over the top and runs another big effort. This is just nothing but disappointing, especially for Skippy, and I would say for First Mission too.
I think the biggest thing that inclines to me why, First Mission just didn't run well at all. He actually got passed by Skippy.
He really did.
The end. And there's, with him fighting him the whole way, Skippy rallying at the end. Frankly, he just didn't run well. And that's just the way it is. Obviously, it was a big component for me. It was a big component for you in the contests at 4 to 5. There was 2 horses that I looked to play my entire day around, because we'll get into it in a little bit. But those Hawthorne contests, they're wide open. You can play any amount of bets, any dollar amount, any whatever. So I look at it and I'm like, okay, well, I just have to hit 2 big bets, right? There was 2 horses that I loved, Ottoman Fleet and First Mission. So double with Ottoman Fleet into what I was hoping was going to be an all-in win bet on First Mission, ended up being exactas. But
Right.
I had Kingsbarns underneath. He was one of the 3 that I played, and like you said, I mean, just he got a 96 here, which is it's a 10-point regression. Kingsbarns gets his first triple digit buyer, as you guys see on the screen.
Yeah.
I just both Skippy and First Mission. I mean, while they dueled each other, but I mean, just disappointing.
Yeah, that when your top horses have 10-point regressions, that opens it up for other horses. I mean,
Yep.
Pyrenees did what he's been doing. Kingsbarns, yeah, I mean, he improved, but he didn't explode with the buyer. And Disarm, who I thought would be a factor, didn't break great.
Yep.
And he's got a quarter crack and he regressed. So when the top 3 horses, at least in my handicapping opinion, I think most people's, at least by the board, all regressed 10, 6 points. That's hard to figure. Now, I'm not a bounce guy, Kyle. I don't know if you believe in bounce. I mean, I'm a math person, so I do think there is, regression to the mean, but that doesn't necessarily mean bounce. I guess I'll end our conversation on this race with 2 thoughts. One, is Kingsbarns now, a player in this? Obviously, he's a player in the division. Do you think he's a Breeders' Cup Classic type? If he can improve, is this just, is just a one-off? Why do you feel about Kingsbarn? He's only a 4-year-old.
Yeah. Well, and as I stated, like I said, I loved him going into that race that Ben Ali, as you touched on, and I did as well. I loved him going into his 4-year-old year. I thought that this was going to be his year. He's going to take a big step up. And then, as you said, last race, I was like, wow, that was really not the best. I still believed in him, obviously throwing him under, but this was definitely a competition step up with Skippy, with First Mission, and I thought Disarm was going to run a much better race. Obviously, he's in now, but which in hindsight, but I was very high on Disarmed for complete transparency. I was First Mission. I was all Dutch exactas to get to about 5K. First Mission over Kingsbarns, Skippy, and Disarm. And so we
were similar thinking here. So
the play's all there. It's just a matter of getting, and it's like you always said. Actually, this happened a few times on Sunday that we'll talk about. Howard, is you're like, wow, why didn't I? You had the horse underneath and you didn't play the horse on top because you thought the horse would be good enough, but not better than some. And then just ends up running and winning by 3. And it's so infuriating sometimes.
I think I'm more bothered on the First Mission effort as opposed to Kingsbarns improving. Like, horses can improve. I didn't love Kingsbarns, but I guess I'm not really surprised that he ran well. But I mean, if he ran 100, I just didn't see Skippy and First Mission, especially First Mission, regressing 10 points. So that leads me to my last question, Kyle, before we get into the Hawthorne contest is, what do you do with Skippy? What do you do with First Mission? Let's talk about First Mission. Let me give my opinion first, Kyle. I'm not giving up on this horse. I think he's a serious horse. I think he's still a Breeders' Cup Classic threat. I think he'll be better sitting off the pace. He's just been too impressive in his first few starts. I know this was a tougher field. I'd like to see him sit off horses and have a target. I still think he's very talented. If he goes to the Whitney and is like 4-1 against, National Treasure and whatever else, I'm going to like him. I think distance will be his friend. I know that seems a bit hypocritical based on the fact that he just faded in this race. Churchill can be a little bit weird. I don't know. I think this is a one-off. I think First Mission's going to have a good rest of the year. I don't know if he can win the Breeders' Cup Classic. I'm personally not giving up on him. Your quick thoughts on First Mission, then we'll talk about Skippy.
Couldn't agree with you more. I mean, just as the base scenario, I couldn't agree with you more. I'm not, like you said, his last 2 races have just been way too impressive, sitting off the pace for a race where he's on the lead. Like you said, did fade, pretty decently in that race. But when the way he has run and has shown he can run with a target, I completely agree with you. And if he's 4-1 against horses like that, Yeah, you'll get my money. That's for damn sure.
Rodney brings up a good point. And if they're really serious grade 1 Breeders' Cup type horses, they don't fade like that in the stretch. I'm not going to disagree with you,
Yeah.
Rodney, on that. I have more faith in First Mission than Skippy. Skippy's just been he's been way too inconsistent, and I feel like Skippy is a little more. It really needs to be on the lead and is a little more subject to the pace, as opposed to First Mission, who I think is a little more rateable and can sit off. Even if it's a fast pace, he can sit even further off. I just feel like First Mission's a better animal. I know it doesn't look like it on Saturday, but maybe that means we'll get a price next time. I like Skippy. Skippy's a nice grade 2 horse. I don't really consider him a grade 1 type. He's going to win a lot of money for the barn, whatever the hell barn he's in. That's a whole other story.
Wow.
We'll see where he goes next. I don't know where they're going to point to, but Skippy's a nice, honest horse. I just feel like First Mission is better. Again, maybe I'm an idiot based on what you see, but I don't base it off of one race.
Yep,
So.
and I would be renounced if I didn't say that Skippy is one of Emma's favorite horses, so I hear about it all the damn time. Right. I think he's basically not a shoe-in, but he's very, very good in those races, like like the Charlestown Classic, like those types of races, to where he can romp against not lesser horses, but a little bit inferior competition, and he looks super good, runs big numbers. That Oaklawn Handicap was the one that really, kind of made me think a little bit the other way, because he beat Highland Falls, who came back to run super well.
Yeah.
But I think that's more where he is in the regard of in the division. I think he's goes to those lesser, the smaller tracks under big days, and he can win those. But in terms of this type of competition, I think he's kind of that third, fourth, fifth place in that regard.
I want to just end by saying I'm not suggesting that First Mission is going to win the Breeders' Cup.
Well,
I'm just saying he's better than he showed, and I think he'd be an interesting long shot in that kind of race, depending on who's going. But in saying that, Kyle, he needs to run back to his bigger numbers. I mean, obviously 100 buyer is not going to do it, but if he's running mid 100s, we'll see. Chet, what's up? Chet Smithard. Chet, I'm not sure we've seen you in the chat.
Yep.
Welcome, Chet. Said we're all dumb for not being on Kingsbarn the Foster. Look, Chet.
I'm dumb.
I don't feel that way. I'm very happy to throw myself under the bus all the time. I just, again, Kingsbarns did impress, but he got 100 buyer, Kyle. I mean, if Skippy or First Mission run their race, they beat Kingsbarn by a few lengths. So it just didn't work out. But Chad, I hear you. I mean, 10-1 is a nice price on a Pletcher in a grade 1. Pletcher, by the way, has been a little bit cold this year in general. But
especially
listen, I hear you, Chad. It was frustrating. No, it's a tough game, Kyle.
Yeah, well, to be fair, that was we're talking about Pletcher. That was Pletcher's 4th win at Churchill this year, throughout their entire meet. So, but again, it's Todd Pletcher. You can never count him out. We talked about it earlier. It's. You see 100, 106, so that last race, 107 last race for Skippy, then Kingsbarns wins with 100. Yeah. It's almost just like, if they, like you said, if they run their race, they run that, even a low 100, they're still ahead of them by 1.5. So I'm, like I said, for how much I've loved Kingsbarns before and loved Cherie DeVoe early in the year for that matter. That's what makes me feel stupid when I look at this. And I'm like, well, that's really annoying. But I completely agree with your point though.
And Kingsbarns, out of a Tappan mare, Uncle Mo, I mean, he could, he's got bigger. If Todd has figured him out, he's got brighter days ahead. It's going to be interesting to see. I will say, Dreamlike, his other one was very disappointing. Disarmer at the quarter crack. Steel Sunshine is Steel Sunshine. He's in a nice horse, but not of this quality. So it'll be interesting. The other race, we're not going to show the replay, but I do want to bring it up, Kyle, because as you mentioned, the Fleur de Lis. Scylla is a horse that I have talked about on Picks and Ponies. I've been a big fan of his for a long time. I picked him in this race. I picked him in the previous race. I'm not patting myself on the back too much because, she's been somewhat odds on, but she did have something to prove in the previous race. She did not break well in this race. And yes, I mean, maybe these are not maybe these are not the superstar older filly and mares here, but Scylla is an up and comer, and she had overcome some adversity. She won in dogfight this is a very nice older filly mare.
Well, and that's what I was going to say is, you look at the buyers and she got an 87 for this race, which is what shows a regression from, her 293s. But when we talk about visual handicapping, right, Howard? I mean, she's never been like last like that in a race, if I can remember correctly.
No.
And she still was able to fire and beat Shotgun Hottie in an oncoming Shotgun Hottie who ran an absolute hole in the wind last time at Pimlico. So, talk about we talk about these tactical horses and how they make their own trips. Scylla's been very, very good, but he's gotten a lot of those good trips. And now having not breaking well, sitting far back.
You just said he.
Then you said he as well. That's why you messed me up. That's why, because I thought
I said
was
he
wrong.
for Scylla?
Yeah, I thought I was wrong.
I'm very ashamed of myself. I'm gonna have 2 drinks then.
I was like, wait, it's a she. I thought it was a she. No, it's okay. Because taxed. Yeah, that was dumb of me to not just say it. But.
And any thoughts on the Paco ride, by the way? I know you wanted Shotgun more than Scylla. Okay.
I no comment.
I don't really have a problem with it.
No,
there was some bumping in the stretch. It was a roughly run stretch run. Scylla's gonna have to improve to win like the Breeders' Cup Distaff, but she's a nice horse. So and we Raymond mentioned the chat. I mentioned on the show. Scylla is the breeding here. This is a ridiculous. This parents of Tappet, closed hatches. That'd be nice because you got Scylla. You have oh boy, I'm drawing a blank. Batten Down and who's the other one? Dang,
Tacitus.
Tacitus. Thank you.
Here,
are all sons and daughters of these parents. I mean, it's really impressive. Yeah.
I mean, Batten Down, Scylla, they're all great, at least grade 2 winners.
Yeah.
Batten Down obviously won the Ohio Derby. And Tacitus was Tacitus. So
crazy.
It's just what an unbelievable family Juddmont's got going there. And as long as everything keeps going well, I don't see why they shouldn't just keep going.
Very impressive.
Yep.
One other person in the chat I wanted to mention. Look who's here. What's up, Tom?
Hey.
Tom was right next to us on Saturday at the Hawthorne contest.
Yep.
Hey guys, enjoyed sitting next to you all at Villa Park Saturday, hanging out at Crestwood Sunday. Yep. Keep up with the great work. Thanks, Tom. Thanks for joining the show. Thanks for joining the chat. Don't be a stranger, Tom. We really appreciate it,
my friend.
Well, speaking of, that's a great transition, actually, to talk about the Hawthorne contest Saturday and Sunday. Now, very briefly, by the way, I don't know if you noticed, Kyle, sporting the Hawthorne Rotational. Very comfortable, actually. I love the fabric.
I wore mine yesterday.
Big fan. And I went with the extra large instead of the double X because I'm working on my weight and other things. So proud of the extra large. Inside info no one cares about, but proud the extra large actually fits me, Kyle. And I didn't have to go to the double. Hawthorne contest. They had $500 contest Saturday and Sunday. You were involved in both of them, trying to get an NHC seat. I know it didn't work out for you. You've had some really tough beats with some low prices, but just talk a little bit about the contest format for that contest and you mentioned a little bit your play on Saturday, anything you would have done differently or just anything in general about the $500, only $3,500, I think was the winning total on Saturday.
Yeah. Which again, we can talk about it. It would have been more probably, first mission one. A lot of people were probably alive to him. That probably knocked out a bunch, and including all of us. But the reason why, and again, we are sponsored by Hawthorne, but I want to say this is completely an unbiased opinion. I really love these Hawthorne $500 contests, and a lot of people do that I've talked to because it's literally anything goes. You get 500, you register for 500, it's no entry fee, and it's all tracks, all bets, whatever you want to do, you can do. And so when I look at that, like I kind of mentioned a little bit earlier, is great. Who are 2 horses on the entire day that I need, that I can say these horses should win? And it doesn't matter the odds for me because you can manipulate bets in a way where you can play these 4 to 5 shots that have a high probability of winning in theory, of course. And on Saturday, I ended up playing the 2 horses were Ottoman Fleet and First Mission, which is what I talked about. I played Ottoman Fleet into Scylla and Shotgun Hottie. So that was, all over. Shotgun Hottie obviously would have been the better of the two, but I hit that. I was up to almost 1,500 for that. And it was a little bit below my target where I wanted to play first mission, which is why I ended up playing Exactas, not just not a straight win bet. My whole plan was to play a double into an all-in win bet on first mission. That was the whole plan. And again, that's why only 2 bets, just like mitigation of risk, playing around these even money shots to be able to get to a certain total in only 2 bets. And that's 10x your money in 2 bets using 4 to 5 shots. And that's why I love the Hawthorne tournament, is because, there's no mandatories, there's no minimums, there's nothing like that, as opposed to what you guys played on Sunday, which we can talk about. So that, of course, didn't work out for me, but I thought the game theory there was exactly what I needed, just a little unlucky. And then Sunday, that was the funny one. This one will be super brief. I walked in, bought into the contest.
You sure you want to admit this, Kyle?
Whatever, who cares? It's gonna be a good laugh no matter what.
All right.
Sat down, looked at the program. There's a 2 to 5 shot at Belmont in the first race, and there's 2 like 9 to 5 shots in the second race. I'm getting 4 to 1 and 5 to 1 on 2 doubles for 2,000 and 2,500, which is exactly where I wanted to be to put a win bet on like first mission. And I'm like, all right. So I fired everything I had on the 2 to 5 shot. Who is I can't remember the name, but it ran in one of the other ones we covered and just lost to a good horse. I think it was one of the ones at Saratoga for Belmont Stakes Day. It was like one of the maidens that they ran in. Was upped and headed on the far turn, looked like it was going to win by 10, and then absolutely hung like a donkey. It was absolutely mind-blowing to me. And so I walked in the OTB, bet, and was out of the contest in about 3 minutes or so. So that was fun.
To your credit, though, you did stick around with all of us,
of course.
Even to more your credit, you really didn't do much betting at all because you're that disciplined. So that was really impressive. The shame of it is, as you found out after, I didn't want to say anything. I actually liked the 2 quite a bit in that race.
Yeah,
and I played a big exacta 5-2. I didn't turn it around in the invite. I wish I did, but I did like the 2. I actually had some place money on the 2 in the contest. I didn't really think the 2 was going to win, but I did think the 2 was fascinating. And as I watched later, I heard Andy Serling actually had the 2 on top in that race, by the way, and on his on their show. But anyway, that was tough. There's somebody in the chat I wanted to mention. Oh, Rodney, Anchor, who you crapped on me on Thursday night for liking Anchor. Anchor ran well, buddy, in the Kelly's Landing. A very good second after playing some bumper cards with Hoist the Gold. So, Rodney, I'm assuming you're still in the chat. You got to give me a little credit for Anchor running a huge second at 10 to 1, only finishing like a length back to was it Close the Game Sugar? Is that the name of that's a complete freak now. So anyway, Rodney, I'm going to call you out on that one a little bit, but I do agree with you on Occult, Rodney. I liked Occult also. I was shocked Occult was like up close. I thought Occult would be where Scylla was. Anyway, we won't going to relive the
one comment I want to bring up real quick, Howard, is Tom, who said, I'm not sponsored by Hawthorne, but it was my first live money contest. And Hawthorne lived up to their player-friendly contest reputation. And they try to put on these contests for people with the no entry fee stipulation, which is why, and the basically no rule stipulation. You can do whatever you want. And you got to get to the winning dollar amount. And I think, especially for people that are trying to get into contests, the buy-ins are definitely not near the high end of the spectrum for live money contests. And they're very player friendly. So again, that's just an example of, if you're new to contests, these Hawthorne ones should be right up people's alleys.
Here's another comment. This guy's my hero. And I say that a little tongue in cheek, but only partially. Jim knows why. Jim Pillar's just purchased, Kyle, the Saratoga and Del Mar full season picks. There we go, Jim. Nice shot, buddy. Cannot be easier using the website. I'm now ready to crush my bets this summer. Thanks a lot, Jim. Like Jim. Everyone. Be like Jim. New Nike commercial. Anyway, thanks a lot, Jim. We really appreciate that. I'll be really brief with my comments on the contest. Saturday, I played in the $500 one. I had 2 entries. I was not all in on First Mission. I had a nice exacta in the turf race, Ottoman
Mm-hmm.
Fleet to Chasing the Crown, who I actually thought was interesting in that race, and that boosted me up. And then I had the anchor score with exacta. So I was actually doing okay, Kyle, ready to have a decent day. First Mission definitely hurt me a lot. I was not all in. I played around with some races after that. It just didn't work out. But that's what happened on Saturday. Now Sunday, I did not play in the $500 one. I played in the Hawthorne Invite,
Mm-hmm.
which was a great honor, of course, with Matt. And shout out to Brad Anderson, by the way, our buddy Brad, who finished
Absolutely.
7th, who did a great job out of 60 of the best players in the country. So shout out to Brad Anderson for finishing 7th. I had a lot of really close calls. Like I said, the first race at Aqueduct was just heartbreaking. I should have just Dutched 2-5 and gone with my gut. Instead, I went 5-2 and 5-1 and a place bet on the 2. Of the earlier races, Kyle, I cashed a little bit. I also cashed on a nice trifecta with a Marshall Graham horse that came in third. One of my favorite plays that reverse try key. But the mandatories, I was not good. Churchill was weird early part of the card, Kyle, because partially, in my opinion, because the track started muddy and then it was drying out and the surface was just weird. And I did not do well with the mandatories. I had $950 left going to the last race. And the story basically of my day, I played a few bets, but the big one was a 70. That's correct. $70 trifecta, 4 with 8, 10 with a bunch of horses, including the 2. Of course, it comes 4, 2, 10, 8. And so if I had the try, I wouldn't have won the contest, Kyle. I probably would have finished with like 3,500. It was a $2,500 buy-in. I would have been happy to have 3,500. Of course, I went all in. That's just I went for it. I did do some other things, including a 4-8 exacta. The 4 is my top pick. It was my top pick Thursday. You go back and listen to the show with Emily, Kyle. We broke down the entire race, and the 4 was my top pick. Nothing overly creative, but he did go off at 5-2. Had I had a better day, Kyle, and I accumulated somewhere between 3,000 and 4,000, as the horsey racing gods be my witness, I know 100% I would have gone all in win bet on the 4 without a doubt and would have a chance to win the tournament. Unfortunately, I just wasn't good enough early part of the invite. But like you said, most importantly, Hawthorne, shout out to everyone there, Emily, Dakota, John Walsh, Mike Sounds did a great job co-hosting. The hospitality was tremendous. There was food anytime you asked for it. The service was great. Matt Miller had a little bit of a popcorn issue, but we'll let that go.
But
anyway,
I can't believe you even brought that up.
Well, I mean,
that was funny.
Ridiculous what happened to him with the popcorn.
Well, I know.
Anyway, they just treat you right. Hawthorne does everything right. I know some people aren't, wish their racing was a little better, as we do. Their racing is definitely good. We wish the quality was a little better. They're working on it. But everything you could ask for with Hawthorne, and the contest was just tremendous. And I wish them nothing but the best as they continue to improve their product.
Yeah, and of course, we all, we wish that everywhere was racing like Churchill Downs, right? But the fact of the matter is, yeah, absolutely, Nathan. I responded to him in the chat as well. I said they put on a good and fun show, and
you did. And Nathan, Matt and I will be talking to you Wednesday. Nathan, be ready. You know why? You might see Nathan at the Indiana Derby, by the way.
Nice. I
Kyle.
hope so.
You want to make that grand announcement, Kyle, next week?
Yeah, because I will. First of all, we'll cover this, of course, at the end. But Betting and Boozing goes tomorrow night instead of Wednesday night. We're covering the Indiana Derby card at 8:30 p.m. Eastern. And I'm going to be there on Saturday at the Indiana Derby. So anyone that is in the Midwest area, please come out. They do a great job as well. I was there last year, for those that remembered. I've actually had a couple people reach out to me on Twitter, the people I met last year, saying if I was going again. And I'm definitely going to be there. It's actually going to be me and my dad. I'm going to bring my dad along with me as well. And they have a fun NHC contest as well in that for Indiana Derby Day. So if you're coming out, come out, play the contest. Hopefully you can win a trip to Vegas. But yeah, tomorrow instead of Wednesday for Betting and Boozing, and it's 8:30 p.m. Eastern tomorrow.
And then Picks and Ponies, Kyle?
Picks and Ponies is a special show. It's a special, of course, this week is 4th of July. Wednesday, people are going to go out. Everyone has Thursday off. You're going to go out, hang out with the families as you should, or your friends, wherever you're going. So Picks and Ponies will instead be a special Saturday morning show, 10:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And, people that loved our Saratoga shows last year that might be making a comeback this year for the Saratoga Today, maybe. But either way, it's going to be structured exactly like that. You're going to have scratches. It's going to be, as live opinions as they can be. So don't miss that Saturday morning as well.
Yeah. So once again, Bet and Boozin' tomorrow night, Tuesday night, again, changes because of the holiday. And they're going half an hour later, 8:30 Eastern, covering the really good Indiana Derby Day card,
awesome.
which is coming up Saturday. And then there's no show Thursday for Picks and Ponies, ladies and gentlemen. It'll be this Saturday morning, 10:30 a.m. Myself, Pete, and Paul covering a huge day at Aqueduct for their Stars and Stripes card. They got the Belmont Oaks, the Belmont Derby, 2 really good 3-year-old turf races. They have 2 other stake races. They have a huge day of racing next Saturday. And the last thing I'd like to say, once again, a lot of really exciting things happening on the show. Saratoga Power Picks, Del Mar Power Picks. Go to our website, hhhracingpodcast.com, and you can find out all about our brand new Power Picks that are available. We highly recommend it. They're very profitable and inexpensive. They're on Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays. And then also, as Kyle, we'll just mention now, Kyle, we are planning on having, as we did last year, live Saratoga Today. Morning shows are back on Saturdays and Sunday mornings, the morning of the races. So check us out Saturday and Sunday mornings for special Saratoga shows when that meet starts up in a few weeks. And also like to mention myself, Matt Miller, Brad Anderson, Patrick Kunzel, perhaps Noah Maher. We will be at Saratoga Racecourse, ladies and gentlemen, the week of the Jim Dandy, which the dates, I believe the 24th we will be at Saratoga, a bunch of us from the 24th to the 28th of July. And Jim Plars will actually be there as well. We finally get to meet in person, so I'm excited about that. So, and Paul Halloran actually will be there on Jim Dandy Day, the 27th, and Sunday, the 28th. And of course, his good friend Bob Mullins will be there as well. So, Kyle, you'll see him again.
Why do I gotta be married, man?
Breeders' Cup.
I'm just kidding. I'm just
Breeders'
kidding.
Cup,
Yeah, Breeders' Cup,
right?
absolutely, of course.
Right.
But
the last thing I will tease this. It's not official. Those of you who are familiar with Equine Edge and Scotty McKeever and their product, we have some things in the works. Nothing is official yet, but we are planning on partnering up with Equine Edge and doing a lot of things with them. So if you're familiar with their show, they have a lot of live shows, especially on Saturdays. We've got some very, very possible, exciting announcements and changes on this podcast in a good way, including Kyle, you ready? The possibility of showing live races finally with we have live racing, but we can't show them because of a lot of copyright issues. We are working through that and possibly showing some live racing right on the HHH Racing podcast, amongst some other things as well. So, man, we have a lot going on. I'm wheeling and dealing, Kyle, behind the scenes to improve the product and give the viewers and the listeners everything that they want and asking for. We're working very hard for everyone, and hopefully you'll support us by looking to the Power Picks and just watching and listening. Final thoughts, Kyle, as we roll into an exciting 4th of July week and weekend.
Yeah, no, I mean, like I said, it's sad that the tournaments went, poorly for us this weekend. There's always more coming up, and you guys are gonna have a great time in Saratoga. And to everyone in the chat, of course, there's a reason why I'm not going to Saratoga. I'm getting married in September. That takes way more precedence than Saratoga does. But the fact of the matter is there's always next year and the year after that and the year after that. It's, it's going to be, and I realize how lucky I am to have, and to have Howard as a friend and have everyone, our whole group as a friend, as friends. And it's
getting verklempt. I'll be all right.
With Saratoga and Breeders' Cup, Derby now, probably it's just it's insane. It's just we're all super lucky to be here. But most importantly, guys, be safe 4th of July, whatever you're doing, all the fireworks and with your friends, family, all that. Have a great time, but of course, remember to be safe.
I also want to mention tomorrow night, Jim Miller will be on with, which usually they show up, but Jim Miller of Hawthorne Racecourse will talk about the contest a little bit, and they have a really good Saturday late pick 4 that Kyle will be going through tomorrow night, Tuesday night with Jim Miller also will be on of Hawthorne Racecourse. So that will wrap it up for my good friend and co-host and host of Bet and Boozin', Mr. Kyle Roscoe. This has been Howard Kravitz, episode 26 of Horsin' Around. Crush your bets anywhere you play this 4th of July week. Thanks for watching. Take care, everyone. Have a great night. Bye-bye.
If you have not followed his Triple H horse racing podcast, you're missing out. It's one of the best podcasts in the country.